What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know. Basically, the other day was, there was a lot of hoopla. There's a lot of things, a lot of social media uproar between obviously the two Jazz players, Rudy Gobert and Utah Jazz Donovan Mitchell, basically getting picked last by KD and LeBron. And a lot of people were like, "This is disrespectful. What's going on here?" LeBron made the comments about the Utah itself. People ain't trying to use that team, even in 2K, even with Karl Malone and John Stockton. Like, nobody using that team. You know what I'm saying? Nobody picking that team. Like, they have the Jazz and the Spurs have the same type of, the syndrome that people don't really watch them that much. They're not really flashy and all that type of stuff. Now, the Jazz obviously aren't in the full boat with the Spurs now because the Jazz do have Donovan Mitchell, who brings a lot of flash. You know what I'm saying? He's athletic. He brings a lot of burst, flash, you know what I'm saying? But then again, they still have same thing with Mike Conley when he was in Memphis. This is why he goes underrated. It's the same type of, you have Joe Ingles, you have, you have Bogdanovich, you have guys that aren't really flashy type of players, but they get the job done, you know what I mean? But the Jazz do have a spark of flash, a spark of electricity when you look at Clarkson and you look at Donovan Mitchell. So what LeBron was saying does apply to the Jazz, but not fully, but it does apply. Like, people don't use the Jazz regardless, even with the splash of electricity from those two guys. People don't really look at the Jazz, as I'm using them. Oh my God, they're top tier, even though their record says they're top tier and a lot of that stuff. So I'm gonna dive into the context and explaining, because people think that those two, KD and LeBron, were basically disrespecting the Jazz and all that type of stuff. But let me give backstory, right? Let's go into the context, because I give you that context. So let's go straight right into it. So basically, KD and LeBron, they're doing the picks, right? They're the captains, even though KD's not gonna be playing in the All-Star game. That's tomorrow, right? It's a full day tomorrow. You got the 3-point shootout skills challenge, I think 6:30. Then 8 p.m. you got the All-Star game, and then halftime you got the dunk off, right? And then obviously second half finishes, and it's still doing the Kobe format that they did last year, right? So, obviously, they were picking players, right? You have the captains, the top two vote, leading vote getters, the top two, one from each conference, and they become the captains, and then they pick from a pool. You pick from the starters first. When you pick from the starters, right? Obviously LeBron was the leader and vote getter, so he's the first pick. He picks the whole starters, right? And then when he picks the starters, it stops. Then they go ahead and KD gets who got the first pick? Yeah, KD gets the first pick of the reserves. Yeah, KD gets the first pick of the reserves, and then it goes ahead and they go back and forth, right? So that's the format. That's what they do. So let's look at the draft order before we even go into, oh my God, it's disrespectful for the Jazz and all that type of stuff, because a lot of people don't apply context and stuff like that, but it's okay. It is what it is. But let's go ahead and do that. So first pick, obviously, for LeBron in the first starters was Giannis. He picked Giannis. Then, Durant, KD picked Kyrie. Then LeBron picked Steph. Then KD picked Embiid. Then LeBron picked Doncic, Luka. Then KD picked Kawhi. And then obviously LeBron's playing himself as well too. And then LeBron picked Jokic. But because KD is not picking himself because he can't play, Jason Tatum becomes replacing as a starter. And so the last two picks KD would get automatically on his team, which happened to be Bradley Beal and then Jason Tatum, right? So, which is a late starting five, both ends. We'll talk about, obviously, who I think, which team is better, and, just play style wise, because people just look at individual talent. They don't look at play style, like who can, especially in an all-star game format where it's dunks and threes, right? So, like, you got to look at it from that perspective. But anyways, let's look at, so That was the first picks of the starters. So KD now is picking the reserves. He picks Harden. LeBron picks Dame, right? Then KD picks Booker. Then LeBron picks Ben Simmons, right? Then LeBron picks Ben Simmons. KD picks Zion. Then LeBron picks Chris Paul. KD then picks Zach LaVine. LeBron picks Jaylen Brown. KD picks Julius Randle. LeBron then picks Paul George. KD then picks Vukovic. LeBron picks Sabonis. Then KD picks Donovan Mitchell. Then LeBron picks Gobert. So those are the two left. And I know there's a lot of people are looking at disrespectful because LeBron goes, I need a big man. So finally, let me go pick. I need a tall guy in the middle. Let me go pick Sabonis. Did not pick Rudy Gobert at all. People are like, oh, they're thinking about Rudy. I'm like, bro, I'm going to talk about that anyways. And then LeBron, KD, when he had to pick between Donovan Mitchell and Gobert, he says, I need a bucket. So he picks Donovan Mitchell. So now let's analyze why these two guys are picked last, okay? So the easier one we could talk about is Gobert. Gobert he has the least amount of skill in this out of the All-Stars. He's just a one-dimensional, I protect the rim, big man. I only get buckets if I throw the alley. You know what I'm saying? There's so many guys who do what he does. You have Jared Allen, you have DeAndre Jordan. You have so many guys like it in an All-Star game where it's like threes, dunks, and all that type of stuff, and you're not playing that much defense. So why would Rudy Gobert's stock be high? Why would Rudy Gobert be someone I'm gonna waste a pick on when there's other bigs who can protect the rim or at least, be a force somewhat in the middle and do some, especially in an All-Star game. It's not like you're playing hella defense until the end, right? And in the end, is Rudy Gobert on the court? No, he's not. So if I'm going to have a big that could maybe play defense, I want a big that could also provide offensive skill, which is why Rudy Gobert is going to go last. That's a testament. That's why I try to tell people. This right here, this draft was a testament to the clash that I always say happens, you know what I'm saying, in basketball, or happens with media, casual fans, and the actual recognized real IQ fans, purists, right? The purists. This is the casual, this is the narrative and the kind of the clash that always happens, which is the eye test versus the analytics, or you have the purists and the hoopers versus the guys who read the stats and the casual fans. It's the same type of, there's always a disconnect. The people that the casual fans and the analytics rave about is never the people that the purists and the hoopers and the eye test rave about. It's a complete, flip, a drastic difference. So what I mean by that is analytics will tell you, and all these guys, media, and all these rankings will tell you, oh my God, defense efficiency, Rudy Gobert, he's top tier, this, he's one of the best bigs. He could be the best big, this, that, he's the third best big, whatever the case is, right? He's this, he's that, he's a lead, he's a 20th best player. All those rankings that come out that Rudy Gobert is over all these guys, right? And then what happens? He's picked last. It is not a situation where it's just a plethora of talent for Rudy Gobert. It's not like there's a plethora of talent, so he's just unfortunate he got picked last. Someone had to get picked last. No. From a mile away, I could smell and know he was going to get picked last before this even started. Why am I picking? Like, when you have bigs like Vukovic, who could shoot and possess skill, and not just shoot. Look at what they're doing. They're shooting like guards. They're almost doing 50-40s from the field. 50 from the field, 40 from three. Like, that's what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, bro. So, like, man, like, you understand, before I even talk about fully the whole roster, you understand hoopers, like, no one's saying you don't look at stats, okay? Even hoopers look at stats. They're going to look at the most important stats that kind of, they don't learn from the stats. They read the game with the eye test. You go to the stats secondary to kind of see what your eyes are, confirm what your eyes are telling you. Your eyes already know who is who. Your eyes already know the ability, who is elite. Then you go to the stats to kind of just confirm, okay, with this ability, how is it being put together percentages-wise? His ability is elite. Is it matching with the stats? That's all you do. And the stats, what I mean, is not the advanced, in-depth, corner threes, this, and efficiency. No, we know you look at efficiency in terms of basic field goal percentage, basic stats. Field goal percentage, points, rebound, assist, field goal percentage, you know what I'm saying? Free throw percentage, 3-point percentage. Those are the things we look at when we see it on the floor, and those are what the hoopers go to. And anything past that, they don't really pay attention. Hoopers, purists don't really, because those things are out of context. They can be manipulated. Even these basic stats can be manipulated because, again, who are you playing with? What system? What's going, like, there's so many things that go into it. But basic, when I see ability and you're like, this guy's eating, oh my goodness, let me go check what this guy's doing. Then you go check KD's doing, oh my God, he's doing 50, 40, 90. It makes sense because, look, that's what you kind of do. So when you're looking at bigs that are actually shooting like Vukovic is shooting, what's he doing? Sabonis is shooting 53% from the field, and he doesn't shoot that much threes, but he's still 33%. You know what I'm saying? But you look at a guy like Vukovic. Vukovic is doing what? You know what I'm saying? Vukovic is 25 points per game. He's shooting 48% from the field and 41 from three. Like, and 82 from and 85 from the free throw line. Like, that's what he's doing. So you're like, yo, this guy's potent. Like, he gets disrespected because obviously he's not flashy, whatever the case is. Like, you're looking at these big men doing not just possess elite skill, they're potent with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not even a debate. Like, these are, like, you're not picking Rudy Gobert over Sabonis, over Vukovic. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Jokic is a starter, but those are the bigs. Like, you're not really, like, you have to compare him to the bigs. And then the big that he would be more so in the same lane as, like, you're not picking him over Julius Randle, who is, again, doing 48%, 41 from three. Like, he's shooting elite. Like, you're not picking Gobert over him. And then you're not picking, the only one you could maybe pick him over who's equivalent in terms of ability is Zion. And even then, ability, like, in terms of we get buckets in the paint, but even in Zion's buckets in the paint are not like Rudy Gobert, which is just alleys. But Zion is ball handling, getting to the rim. He's bullying, like, it's potent. You know what I'm saying? It's potent. So Rudy Gobert, literally, if he doesn't get an alley, or he catches it and he comes down with the alley and then goes, like, straight up, like, layup, like, if it's not that, he's not even going up. He's not even attempting it. Like, he literally has the weakest and the lowest tier amount of skill in this whole all-star, which is okay because he's not an all-star for offense. He's an all-star for defense. In a non-defensive game, first of all, they play better defense now due to the format. I don't know what they're going to do because they're tired and, you know what I mean, they're still going to put on a show regardless. So I already know competitive juices will flow, and probably it would be not the same competitive like last year's where they were actually playing defense, not just in quarter 4. It was actually because they wanted to win each quarter. So especially at the end of each quarter, they were playing defense because winning the quarter mattered. Remember, each quarter one dictates like you have to win each quarter, and then at the end is obviously win the game. But it created competitiveness in all quarters. So obviously defense does matter last year with the format, but you know what I mean? Like, you could play defense without Gobert because he has lack of skill. So you're not, I need defense, I need to get Gobert. Like, it doesn't move like that. You know what I'm saying? It's really explained. It's not really, you don't have to go too in depth with that. The one you have to go more in depth with is the Donovan Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? And before I even get, so while I'm talking about the Donovan Mitchell, I'm going to talk about other things that explain the Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, people are talking about, oh my God, it's disrespect and whatever. Obviously, we know Donovan Mitchell's a bucket getter. We already know. We know he's kind of like Wade 2.0, more athletic, you know what I'm saying? He has Wade's type of game, but with more threes because it's a new era, right? If Wade was to be birthed in this era, he would be looking like Donovan Mitchell. Even though Donovan Mitchell splits the pick and roll, goes into the paint and attacks it with his scoop layups, his aerobics in the paint, acrobatics in the paint, you know, how his body moves. Obviously, he's more stocky. Wade was also stocky too. Like, don't get it twisted. So, like, he literally has the Wade 2.0 vibe. And I like Donovan Mitchell. Like, and he's not only that, he has that mentality, like, clutch. He rises level of playing clutch, big games, like, all of that type of stuff. Like, and he's obviously the main guy in his team. So no one's getting, like, this is not a knock against, even though it will look like a knock against Donovan Mitchell, but it's not a knock against Donovan Mitchell when you're looking at who he's comparing him. Like, when people name, oh my God, this is a snub, you have to name who he would take off. Don't just say he's a snub. Anyone can say that person is a snub. Who is he better than? And if you can't take that person off, is it really a snub? That's what you have to look at. Donovan Mitchell, who is KD or LeBron? Like, especially on KD's side. Because KD ended up taking Donovan Mitchell. So we'll look at KD's side. Even on LeBron's side too. Who is Donovan Mitchell going to be taking over then in terms of when you look at the ability? because Donovan Mitchell has the same type of ability arsenal like these other guys. But again, players, they don't necessarily might not look at the field goal percentages to a T and calculate it in their brain before they pick a player. No, it's just ability. Naturally, when you're a smaller guard, your ability has to be so potent to be better and picked over than the guys who are wing players. The ideal basketball player is Jordan. That's Kobe. Like, that's the ideal. KD, like a 6'6" or above wing with ability. That's the ideal guy. It's like, I'm taking that guy. He's always going to be the top best player, top 5. Like, those are the guys because they have height. They're not just small where you can just trap them like on point guard. They have height. They're a wing. They have height. They're ultimate scorers. They have height. They have length. They have versatility. You know what I'm saying? They could play. They could ball handle. They could, like, there's so many versatility and so many aspects of the game that they cover just offensively. That's always the ideal basketball player, is 6'6" above with ability like a guard. So that's what you have. You have the Jordans. You have the, Tracy McGrady's, the KDs. Like, look at everybody in the game. And that's what these potent guys, especially because they're athletic, they could go to the rim and just punch on your beam. Point guard is harder to do those things. You're doing layups and whatever. That's why Kyrie is so like, oh my God, take Kyrie. Because he literally is as efficient as these wing guys because his layup package is unblockable. It's just so different. Like, you have to have potent ability that makes you stand out above these wings. You know what I'm saying? And that's what like reckless. Your eye test is like, yo, that's different. That is like, you're better than those wings. Steph Curry, his 3-point ability is so reckless. Like, you have to be so reckless in certain abilities as a younger guy, as a smaller guy. Even Damian Lillard. Oh my God, like the logos and all the shit that they're doing is so recklessly. That's why you don't see the wing guys even pull from that deep. They don't need to. They can just pull up over you. That's why you see the smaller guys pull up from so deep and whatever. Kyrie doesn't even need to pull up from so deep because of the handle and ability and the creating ability. He's just different. He's literally a wing and a small guy, right? It's just different. But that's the point. The point is you have to be so potent, way above those guys, that is like, oh my God, I'm taking them. Donovan Mitchell's ability is equivalent to those guys, but then the wing guys possess his ability. So am I really going to take the smaller guy over them? And I understand people are, oh my God, he's killing Utah, he's carrying. In an all-star game, hoopers, just the mindset of a hooper, you're not analyzing what team he's on. Is their team 4th seed, 1st seed, 2nd seed? No. Hoopers don't move. It's an individual all-star. I'm picking you. Individual all-star reward. Individual all-star, I just look at your ability. That's all it comes down to. Just your ability and how potent it is and efficient, and, are you elite with it? Are you reckless with it? That's what you look at. That's what your eyes and your brain just thinks to that. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I tell people that the hoopers and the real purists and the people who really understand the game, not the casuals, not the media will always find a way to bring up wins, team. You're talking about a player individually, but always team. That's what they always do. Like, team, I get is part of it. When rating a player, all that type of stuff. But when you're actually really rating a player individually and you really understand the game, a lot of the team shit is situational. But what is their game ability? Can they shoot the 3? Can they hit the mid-range? Do they have multiple combos? You're actually dissecting the game to its detailed, to its parody, to its purest form. Artistry, all that type of stuff. People don't look at it from that perspective. Hoopers do. They might not say it or whatever the case is. These players won't even tell you it, but their brain, that's how they calibrate. You know what I'm saying? And this is what tells you just who they picked, how they picked tells you exactly everything. I don't need to hear him say it. I don't need to hear LeBron or KD say it. Hoopers think alike. It's just they're hoopers. That's why pair evaluations mean so much to hoopers, because it's like you hoop. You know what it is. We don't need to say nothing. Head nod. I feel you. Like, you real recognize real. Energy. You already know what it is. So, like, that's why maybe for Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, it might feel like it's disrespect. But no, it's a it's self-awareness now. You got to be aware. Like Donovan Mitchell is shooting, he's shooting good from 3, but his field goal percent is 42%. That's the lowest out of all the All-Stars. 42%. That's, people say hard, oh my God, he was inefficient when he was with Houston and all that type of stuff. And he was shooting 45%. So look what 42% is. 42% is not efficient at all. And this is why you've heard Skip Bayless. You heard people say Donovan Mitchell, you just throwing all of a sudden a 5 for 22. Like, he has bad games a lot of the times. And it's not like, a hooper is thinking, oh my God, he has bad games, I'm not picking him because he has bad games. No, it's just the ability. When you look at Zach LaVine, people are like, KD should have took Mitchell over Zach LaVine. We're not looking, mans don't look at it as, oh, you're number one in the East, do I have to pick you? No, they're looking at your ability. That's why he said with Randall, oh my God, he's having an amazing year. They're looking at his percentage, and you're looking at his ability and how potent he is. And then the wins come after. But you just look at his ability alone, amazing year. 48% from the field and 41 from three. That's what Randall was doing. Donovan Mitchell shooting 38 from three, which is good, obviously, as a guy who takes volume shots, whatever. That's good. Like, anything from 38 above is considered elite. 40 above is hella elite. But 38 above is already considered above average, 3-point shooting wise. Especially if you shoot 38% 9 times out of 10, that's the ball handler guy. He's taking tough threes. He's not taking just catch and shoots. You know what I'm saying? But most shot creators shoot 38 above because they're still elite shooters, but they're shot creating threes. So pull up threes off the screen, all that type of stuff, right? Context, right? But Zach LaVine is shooting 53% from the field, 45 from three. Like, it's like, I'm not taking, and he's averaging 29, one of the top 5 best scorer in the league right now. I'm taking Mitchell over that. Like, people just, it's like they don't think. I'm taking Mitchell over that. I'm taking Mitchell over Devin Booker, who's shooting 50% from the field and stuff like these are potent, efficient guys. And this is KD, who's the ultimate. He's the poster boy of efficiency. So he already knows, like, who's doing what. Oh, it's not just, you're getting buckets. Nigga, you're getting buckets where you're chucking and you're shooting 42%. And this is not no discredit to Mitchell. I'm just telling you the mindset. The mindset is, once you tell a hooper, that guy's getting buckets. Oh, he's getting buckets. Say word. Let me see. How is his buckets coming? Let me see. Okay. Oh, ooh, that looks clean. Okay. Let me see what he's doing though. Then you go now look at the percentages. Like, nigga, anyone can, like, their mindset is like, especially if I'm elite and I'm a bucket getter myself, anybody can get buckets. Chucking. Anybody. Some have to fall. That's the mindset of a hooper. Like, you're not considered a bucket getter. This is not credit. This is not to Donovan Mitchell. It's just in general. You're not considered like, oh my God, he's just a bucket getter. If you're just hella inefficient, especially as a star. Like, yes, you're still considered a bucket getter. Obviously, it's a bucket getter. The term is how you score. But when we're talking about in comparison to the other guys, we don't even look at you as like, I need to get that guy. If the other guys are like hella potent, they're wings, they're more athletic, all that type of stuff, 6'6", 6'7" guys. Like, even Jaylen Brown is shooting 48, 50% from the field, above almost 40% from three. Like, these are guys who are hella efficient, and they're wings. They're taller guys. Paul George, same thing. Almost doing 50, 40, 90. Like, I'm not taking Mitchell over them. Like, literally, when they're picking, I'm like, I never said Mitchell's name. I was trying to anticipate their picks. I'm like, okay, he's choosing Paul George. He's choosing Jaylen. He's not taking Mitchell. And then you get to a point where you're now picking people. Like, perfect example. Let's look at KD's list. You pick Devin Booker. You pick Harden, Devin Booker. And now you pick Zach LaVine. Your mindset is, I have bare guards. I'm set. I need to now pick bigs. So naturally, he's just going to drop anyways. Once you pick bare, potent scorers, it's like, I have my bucket getters. Okay, I need some bigs now. So then that's why Donovan Mitchell for KD fell at the end, because he didn't look as Donovan Mitchell as the better bucket getter than Zach LaVine and Devin Booker or James Harden. And that's correct. That's absolutely correct. It's not, oh my God, he's a better record. That's disrespect. No. Ability-wise and just potent how they're playing, Donovan Mitchell is lower than all those guys individually. You know what I'm saying? And you can go look at it. The stats will tell you. I just bring up the stats so analytic guys can understand. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm talking to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I know all these analytic guys just stats. So if you don't bring up numbers, a lot of this shit is cap. So eye test wise, it's like they can't even think about what you're saying in terms of the eye test because they don't even know, right? So if I just speak eye test, mans will tune out. I have to speak eye test and stats just to talk to everybody. I don't even like bringing up stats because, like I said, KD and LeBron is not like, oh my God, he's averaging 42%. I'm not picking him. Like, mans don't move like that. But I'm just showing you that, like, the eye test and the stats kind of go hand in hand in terms of how they look at him. Like, Mitchell is not, ability-wise, he's hella potent. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he has Arsenal. But in comparison to those guys are they're exploding this year. This NBA is deficiency this year is reckless. And guys pay attention to that. But again, it literally comes down simplified, and that's just explaining to the analytic guys. But simplified, it comes down to who out of the bucket getters and what I think about eye test wise, who is a more disgusting bucket getter. Donovan Mitchell is a bucket getter, but if I look at Levine and Donovan Mitchell has the length, has the athleticism. He's more disgusting bucket getter than Donovan Mitchell. Hence why he's averaging 29 points per game. You know what I'm saying? On more efficiency, on a worse team, which means he's probably even going to get doubled even more. And yet he's doing more efficient than Donovan Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? You look at Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is more of a bucket getter right now with his wing than Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is nice. Don't get it twisted. He's an elite bucket getter. But when you compare to elite bucket getters, if you have size to your bucket getterness, if that's a word, if you have size to your buckets, I'm taking you. Ideally, wing is like height wing. If you, bruh, like I told you, Donovan Mitchell, he doesn't. When you look at Donovan Mitchell, he plays like a Levine in terms of, and a Jaylen Brown in terms of the wing bucket getters, whereas athleticism and whatever, but he's a smaller guy. Dame, Steph, Kyrie, like those guards, like you look at them and you're like, they're just different. Their shooting is supreme. Their ball handling, everything is supreme. They're so potent with all the things that it's like, it's different than the wings. Donovan Mitchell's handles aren't like moving like they're like, his handles are, people can even say PG's handles are better than Mitchell's. But you're not going to say PG's handles better than Kyrie. You're not going to say PG's handles better than Steph. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to say that. So it's like when you're a guard, you have to be so explosive and so potent in the other things that those wings naturally don't really do on an everyday basis, that now your eyes and your brain just go to like, nah, I got to take these. If you're regular in terms of you're more comparable to how the wings play. Like I said, Zach LaVine and Mitchell, the way they ball handle looks the same. You know what I mean? Even PG looks better ball handling than Mitchell. Like, you know what I mean? You look at who else? Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Mitchell, you know what I mean? Those guys, the way they ball handle's the same. Even Devin Booker too, in that ball. The way they all ball handle is the same. They're scorer ball handlers. You know what I'm saying? It's not like true, you know, elite ball handlers. Right? They're just scoring ball handlers. Even KD's in that boat, scoring ball handlers. So when you look at it, the only reason, like Devin Booker is more, looks weight because he's post up. He's like, same thing with KD. It's like multiple abilities. So like Levine, Brown, and Mitchell are all athletic, wing, ball handler players. But if I have to take, I'm going to take Brown. I'm going to take Levine before I take Mitchell in terms of an all-star game. In terms of an all-star, because they're also, like, they're taller, they're more athletic as well, too. Like, I'm naturally going to just take those guys. So that's where it comes down to for Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what LeBron is looking at, what KD's looking at. And then once they had bare guards, so you look at LeBron's team, he has Damian Lillard, right? He has Chris Paul, that's a friend of his, obviously. Ben Simmons, a client of his, but Ben Simmons is like, for an all-star game, especially with, he actually will be a one who, he has lockup. And then he ball handles, and he can go to the paint, and he has vision. Like, he's going to throw bare alleys. Like, in an all-star game, his game translates pretty good, right? Up tempo, up and down. Run him and Giannis translate good. Now, exactly, and they'll probably have shooters around them. Like, he's just going to get buckets. He's going to play defense. Like, you know what I mean? That's LeBron. You know LeBron loves the point guard. So so you got to look. He got the bucket getter in Damian Lillard. Then he's like, oh, let me, you know him. He's not thinking like KD that's like bucket getter, because maybe he could get Mitchell, right? Over Ben Simmons and Chris Paul. Or, you know what I mean? Or Jaylen Brown high or whatever. He's thinking, okay, you know what? Guard now. I need ball. I need playmakers. And he took Ben Simmons, Chris Paul, and he's like, damn, I have bare guards. And he didn't even think about getting big. He's like, I have bare guards, but he's like, okay, bucket getter. And he just saw Jaylen Brown, Paul George. He's like, I need bucket getters. Jaylen Brown, Paul George. He took those over Mitchell. Then he's like, I forgot. I have to get bigs now. Because remember, now he's like, I need bigs. And then he gets Sabonis and Gobert. Or Sabonis is like, okay, I need one. So he only has two bigs. You know what I'm saying? While you see KD has three bigs. Randall, Vukovic, and basically, you know, Zion. Right? So That's kind of the thinking and the logic. I don't think it's disrespect at all. I just think it's just one of those things that Donovan Mitchell needs to look at it and be like, yo, self-awareness or peer evaluation tells you the most. You're thinking you're so elite. You're thinking you're this. You're thinking you're that. And, yes, to him, it will probably be a slap in the face. Like, God damn, they don't rate me like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's it's a bigger discussion because it's the same thing with the Jazz. They're actually telling you, like, people don't rate the Jazz like that. You're number one seed, but, like, no one has you going to the players. You understand, like, players, the most elite players are the most disrespectful players. That's why they're elite. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're elite. Behind the scenes, off the mic, off camera, like, they're the most disrespectful guys. Their confidence, the way they trash talk, like, you're guarding me? Like, they're the most disrespectful guys. You can't be that elite without having some disrespect in your aura or in your swag. You have to have some disrespect. You can't make it there without being disrespectful. You can't just be a guy to just close your mouth and play. Yes, to the camera, that's what it looks like. But behind the scenes, your man's talk smack to you on a regular. Your own teammates talk smack to you. Yo, I'll lock you up. Are you dumb? Yo, let me kill this nigga real quick. Come, let's play ones right now. That's how mans are moving. Like, the media won't ever show that or tell you that, but I'm telling you, as a hooper, to be elite, you have to be a disrespectful guy. Whether it's by your play on the court, like, you have to be disrespectful or you're gonna be disrespected. One or the other. So what way and so in order for you to even thrive and be elite, you have to have disrespected a lot of people along the way. Or else you will fall under the pressure when they're disrespecting you and they sun you. Now that word gets out, yo, he's not even nice. I just sunned that man. You know what I'm saying? It affects you getting to this top point. You have to be disrespectful. You have to be different. You have to sun all of these mans. Like, that's how it goes. So these KD and LeBron, like, they're just like, yo, mans don't rate you like that. And it just happens. It happens. And this is even more, especially for Gobert, it's more so like, yo, get a hook. Get just a one-dimensional post. Get something. Even Dwight Howard had a hook. Left hook, you go right shoulder hook, left shoulder hook. Like, he didn't just only dunk. He did a 1-2, the same one move, but he actually did a move. Gobert has no move. He literally has no move. He has no move. So, this is a evaluation where it's like, go get better. Put a chip on your shoulder, whatever the case, however you react to that. I know Mitchell will react well to it because he is from that cloth. But again, you got to look at it. This is why people are like, in the bubble, they're like, yo, they're not built like that. Donovan Mitchell, like Jamal Murray, like, they're not like that. Because these are guys who've been averaging low 20s. They've never been snapping amongst the league averaging 26, 27 plus. Like, that's true. That's real snapping. So that's why people are like, yo, they're getting 40s, 50s nonstop. In the bubble, they're like, nah, the bubble. Yes, they're talking about TJ Warren. He's not like that. Like, he snapped with 50s. But when they're saying even Tatum, he's not like that. They're not just talking, but they're talking about Murray too. They're talking about Donovan Mitchell too. They won't say it, obviously. Like, there's so much you could say now because there's, especially in the sensitive era, everything is, But if this was the old era, they would have called him out and said, Mitchell not like that. That bubble shit is cap. They would have said that. Murray's not like that. That bubble shit is cap. Doesn't mean I believe it necessarily, but I understand it was inflated more than it naturally would be. Do you really think in a playoff series with fans and everything that they're going to get 50 every game? Maybe it might be high 30s, but 50 every game where you're literally competing Allen Iverson, Vince Carter series with Mitchell and Murray, and I like both of them. But that's cap. No, they're not on that level. They're elite, but they're not on that level. You know what I'm saying? Especially not yet. Not yet. They're not on that level. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just being real, these are guys, and it's just I hate doing this because it makes it seem like I'm disrespecting these guys or like, oh, I don't like them or whatever. No, that's not the case. I'm always forced to do this when casual and media and just they run with stuff that is cap. Then it's like in order to debunk the cap, I'm in a position to where it looks like I have to shit on these guys and whatever the case is. And I never want to do that. But, you know what I mean? As a purist, it's about the game first. It's not about feelings or this person. It's not about that. It's about the game first and being authentic at all times. And when you're being authentic, people are saying it's disrespectful to Mitchell and Gobert. Like, stop this. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. If anything, it tells you what the truth is. That's what it does. Mitchell is not, all those players that I listed, he's not above them. In ability, he's not above them. Now, if you want to say carrying the team, playoff and all that, that's different. When we're talking about just individual ability, he's equivalent in their ability. But when you're equivalent, there's certain things, little things, intangible things that I'm going to take them over because they're taller. All those other things, like those, you know what I mean? And in this year, Mitchell is inefficient. He is inefficient. So hoopers know that. He might give me a 5 for 22 today. I'm not taking him. Jaylen Brown, he gonna cry. And you try to anticipate because you want to win. You try to anticipate the type of player you're gonna get. And we've seen, not only that, I didn't even mention Donovan Mitchell. Remember, he was an All-Star game last year, and he clapped that shit up. So that also was in Hooper's mind. I even forgot about that. Yo, that nigga, bruh, on the bright stage, that's what he did? Nah, I'm not taking him. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. Let me even check. Let me even do due diligence. All-Star game, what was it, 2020? Let me check the stats real quick. Because I'm pretty sure he clapped that shit up. And LeBron probably was like, yo, the Jazz, really? You know what I'm saying? Like they sometimes, you throw disrespect to throw doubt. Like, this is strategic. Like, mans are like that. People are thinking, oh my God, LeBron didn't. LeBron is cerebral in terms of smarts and IQ. Like, it makes the Jazz as our threat. I'm going to let them know that they ain't like that. And KD didn't really care about that. He's kind of just, I have my bucket getters. Mitchell's the lowest bucket getter out of the bucket getters I have. And then when it came down to it, his last pick, he's like, if I have to choose between Gobert and Mitchell, I need a bucket getter, fam. I'm going to take the Mitchell. So, you know what I mean? LeBron didn't even say the name Rudy Gobert. They just auto put him on the team. So that's going to destroy his psyche. He's like, yo, they're the number one guy that we're worried about? No. And then he subliminally said, I will never take a guy from the other team. Even though he took Kawhi last year, I'm never going to take a guy from the other team. Let me take Paul George. He just did it as a joke because, again, this year, stuff we don't know is more real, or it's not the bubble anymore. So it's more so like you're going to have to play those games, like you're getting, might be more fans later down in the playoffs. Like you're going to get more to a regular atmosphere. So you're going to have to be strategic and kind of play that politic, talk shit type of game, which LeBron is obviously doing. He's not dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of the smartest guys to ever touch basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, so definitely it's calculated. It's calculated at all times. So him not even saying Rudy Gobert's name, like, I already know what time it is for him. He's like, bro, the Jazz, y'all talk about the Jazz? The Jazz. We don't even use them in 2K. Y'all talk about the Jazz? I'm not even gonna say any of those teammates' names. I'm not picking Mitchell, and I'm not picking Gobert. For anything, Rudy thing has the last pick. He's gonna say Mitchell's name, and then you're just gonna put Rudy Gobert on my team. I'm not even mentioning his name. So that was funny. LeBron doing that. But like the last All-Star game, the man went 3 for 10. 3 for 10. Now I'm not saying that, oh my God, like people don't have bad All-Star games, but if that was your last All-Star game or your first All-Star game and that's what you did, and now you have a bunch of guys with elite ability, it could be in the back of their mind where they're like, yo, this man went 3 for 10 last time. Like, I'm not picking him. You know what I'm saying? So that could also be part of it that people aren't mentioning. But anyways, that's mainly, at the end of the day, it comes down to the ability. Donovan Mitchell has elite ability, and he is elite, but he is inefficient. And the other guys he's close to, like on that you would pick him over, me personally, I'm not picking him over those guys individually. We're not talking about carrying a team, going to the playoffs. Like, we're not talking about that. Just individual skill and ability and efficiency. I'm not taking him over Jaylen Brown. I'm not taking him over Zach LaVine. If anything, he's equivalent to them, but they're taller and more wing. So it's more so an ideal player, Brown and LaVine. I'm taking those guys. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at taking Randle and stuff like that, that's just like, I have so many guards and I got to take a big now, right? I have so many guards, and then I'm not taking Mitchell over PG. And who else was his last one? PG and PG and Jalen. I'm not even PG. I'm not taking Mitchell. Like, no one has Mitchell as like a top tier talent over. Like, PG was an MVP candidate one time. He was a runner up MVP. So let's not do that. All right. So, that answers that. Obviously, I spent way more time than I wanted to on that, but you already know we go on a tangent over here. But, and then last but not least, I'll talk about this quickly. Mike Conley replaced Devin Booker is obviously injured right now. So now Mike Conley is going to be on KD's team, replacing Devin Booker, even in the 3-point shooting. But Mike Conley is who we're picking for the All-Star game. Mike Conley. And I'm forced to have to always be in a position to debunk. And it's like, y'all, this is one of the most atrocious things I've seen in a long time. Like, I know they get snubs and whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like, even though it's a snub, it's like, this guy is an all-star too, so who is the bigger snub? But it's not like you took this guy and it's like he shouldn't be an all-star at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still an all-star caliber player, but is he more an all-star versus this guy this year? Who would be the bigger snub? I'm not going to have a bigger snub sitting there. I'd rather put this guy and have the guy who would be lesser of a snub not make it. But they're still all-stars. But, Mike Conley is not an all-star this year. I'm sorry to, to burst whoever's bubble. And it's like, oh, my God, Mike Conley prayed. Like, I'm happy for him. He got his first all-star. But at the same breath, now it even gets me more frustrated because now you give a guy a charity all-star, berth. And then there's guys like CJ McCollum, DeRozan, who hasn't made it in the West out of all, you know what I mean? There's so many guys, especially CJ McCollum, who has never made an all-star game, who has never, ever, this man, Conley's averaging 16 and 6 assists. And the only one who's going to make the all-star game doing that is like a Chris Paul or true point guard, where you can see the type of difference he's made in the team. Conley, even when he played like Anus last year, they still were 4th seed. Yes, they're number 1 seed now, and yes, he's doing better. Yes, we get it. But first of all, the Utah don't even deserve 3 All-Stars. I get their number 1 seed, but they don't have a three-headed monster, a big three this potent where it's like 3 All-Stars. No. The Nets have it. So you're telling me the Nets and Utah Jazz are equivalent getting 3 All-Stars? Like, no. The Jazz, they got 2 All-Stars. You know what I'm saying? That's great. And if anything, I'd rather put Clarkson as the All-Star over Conley. Bruh. See, and it sounds like, I'm discrediting Conley. Like, Conley, the times he should have been an All-Star, because he should have been an All-Star in his career. At least one. Yes, he should have. But not now. Before, when he was with Memphis and he was eating, it was unfortunate that there was other guards. It's the same life that CJ McCollum is living. CJ McCollum has been averaging 22, 23. He's been averaging exactly what Klay has been averaging. But Klay has been an all-star every year. Why? Because the situation. He's in Golden State, number 1 seed majority of the times, so they're going to get multiple all-stars. Portland is lower tier of the conference. They're only going to get one, which is Dame. So it affects CJ. CJ looks like he literally has never been an all-star. When his career might be done, it might come down to he's never been an all-star. You know what I'm saying? And you're easily forgotten when you haven't been an all-star. Even all-stars are easily forgotten. CJ McCollum has, I don't even think Conley has ever averaged 23. But those other years, his team, he was the best player or top player on his team. Like, they didn't even get an all-star sometimes and stuff like that. So, I get it. But you can't give charity. I don't like pity awards and charity awards and accolades. I hate it. Because it disrespects the guys who work hard for it and they don't get it. Now you just give somebody it just to give him it. Like, that's where I don't agree and I don't like it. Adam Silver, in my eyes, rarely ever does wrong. If anything, he never does wrong. I don't even think he has before. This was the first time this is blatant. This is blasphemous in my eyes. This is hella blasphemous. Bruh, Conley? So, De'Aaron Fox, who's averaging 23 or whatever. Let's go look at it quick before, I finish this real quick. Conley would be 16.6. He would be the 49th best scorer in the league right now. That's what he would be with 16.6. Okay? We have, look at this. Where are we going here? Brandon Ingram, averaging 24. You know, you could have put him there. They didn't do that. Okay? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, averaging 23. You know what I'm saying? 51% from the field, 41. He's almost doing 50. He's doing 54 to 80. You could have put him there. You didn't do it. I get OKC's losing. You know what I mean? I understand, but he's eating. De'Aaron Fox, I understand maybe they're losing. He's averaging 23, 47% from the field. You know what I mean? Like, he could put him there. You don't want to put him there? Jamal Murray, averaging 22. Denver is there. You know what I'm saying? 49% from the field, 40% from three. Like, he's eating. Especially lately, he rolls it up. He's 22 points per game. You could put him there. Okay, you don't want to do that. DeMar DeRozan, who's averaging a solid 20. You know what I'm saying? 48% from the field. Obviously, his threes ain't his, but he's averaging 20. The Spurs have no all-star. You could actually put him. Like, even if you want to not put those other guys, they're not in, their team and whatever you want to do record-wise. The Spurs are there. Surprising people. You could put him there. You don't do it. That's why I feel this situation at all the times, DeRozan was like, I'm disrespected. I didn't agree, especially when he was in the West and all of that type of stuff. Like, that was cap because he's in the West. You have, that was when Clay was there. You know what I'm saying? Even CJ McCollum wasn't making it. So, like, again, DeRozan was even doing better individually than CJ McCollum. So I was never ever saying, I'm saying that, like, DeRozan has every right to feel no, because you got to look at it. Are you taking DeRozan over? Remember, that was those times when you had Clay as a reserve. You had all those guards. You know what I'm saying? You had PG, Clay, PG, all of those guys over there, especially even before Kawhi got there. Remember, PG with OKC, all of that type of stuff. You weren't taking, you know what I'm saying? And then even Devin Booker, like, Devin Booker wasn't making it. Devin Booker and CJ both weren't making it, doing way better individually than DeRozan. So, no, I never agreed with DeRozan then. But now, when you have one guy injured, Devin Booker goes in, we no debate. Now Devin Booker injured, and you're going to put Conley. You didn't even take John Morant. John Morant averaging 19.8, 20 again, too. So that's bare. Like, you have De'Aaron Fox. You have Brandon Ingram. You have Jamal Murray. You have DeMar DeRozan. You have John Morant. You know what I'm saying? And who else did I say? There was probably another person that I had mentioned as well, too. You could even take Jordan Clarkson. But even then, those were, you know what I'm saying? Or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, those are the guys, like, you put Conley over him. Conley. Bruh, that's why I'm like, yo, I don't know, man. It's like, he doesn't even I don't even think he's played 70% of the games. Because I don't see him here on the points per game. He's averaging 16.6 and he's not here. And he needs to have 70% points per game, 70% amount of the games played you need to play. 70% of the amount of the team games played you need to have played to be on the stats for box score. That's why you don't see KD there now anymore, and like people interchange, right? That's why now you see Kyrie just hopped in now because he's played. You have to have 70% played. So the fact that he hasn't even played 70%, and that's who you select, though, like, it clearly was a pity. It was a pity charity type of, award. Especially now they feel like Jazz got disrespected. No, they deserve 3. I already know what they're doing, and I don't co-sign. I don't like that at all. I feel that was hella blasphemous. I feel it's actually disrespectful just the all-star term in general. This was disrespectful. Out of all the years, this has been like one of the Mike Conley, and I don't like to say this or whatever, but he has been one of the most just this year, not Mike Conley, the person in general, but Mike Conley's performance this year has probably been one of the weakest all-star selection performances I've ever seen. Like, in order to be an all-star, if what Mike Conley is doing is the standard, that's atrocity. Because it's not. That's why I'm trying to point out that it's cap. I don't know what, maybe behind the scenes, the reasons why they did this, but that's cap. Like I told y'all, this bare years DeRozan in the West hasn't ever since he went to the West, he hasn't made it, which I anticipated because I know what the West guards are. But the fact that DeRozan has been averaging 20 plus every year and hasn't made it, like I said, CJ McCollum been averaging 23, 22, hasn't made it. Devin Booker, 1 year, like last year he got in as an injury replacement, and he was averaging 27. So now you have a guy averaging 16.6, and he's not a Chris Paul, who like they're literally winning and have this record because of him, like all that type of stuff you want to give Chris Paul. So Mike Conley is, bruh, like, that's crazy, man. That is crazy, man. And you look at all the guards I mentioned doing like John Morant, all of that type of stuff. Like John Morant, if anything, pick him then. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, yo. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like, this is where it gets frustrating with the league and media, because it's like there's a disconnect. And they just change criteria. They just like, they could do anything at any time. And it's just so disrespectful to the game. And then now when you disrespect the game like that, that's when the casual fans, they constantly will disrespect the game like that too. When you actually have mans who are working, they're disrespecting the game. Like, that's why it's always hard, like, for players and hoopers to coexist with the business side of the game. The business side of the game is like, it's so unauthentic to the actual sport itself. It's like, it's just they do business decisions that a lot of the times don't actually like coexist and match and correlate with the actual hoop, the actual hooper, the actual, purity, artistry, arsenal, all of that. It doesn't match. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention even the stats. So, bruh, it's just, that was atrocious. Like, seeing that, I'm like, yo, that is actually terrible. That's actually terrible. I didn't even expect it. Like, I didn't even think, no one in their right mind could say they had Conley ever on their all-star list. He wasn't even in the guys who got snubbed. He wasn't even nowhere near that. Like, no one even, like, bruh, let me not. You know what I'm saying? Let me not. Because I know people are going to be like, oh my God, you hated on Conley and whatever. No, I'm not. I'm just being real. Like, I be real and the game first over everything. Like, I actually like Conley. Like, he actually has skill. This man does wrong hand floaters on a regular basis. He's a left-hand player who does right-hand floaters, and he be swishing those bitches. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I already know he has ability. He had a bad year last year, you know what I mean? I liked how he resurged himself, was resurgence, because the year he had last year, I didn't expect, which is why I had the Jazz. Like, last year coming into the year, I had the Jazz. Obviously, they ended up being a 4th seed, but I had them, like, probably even a top 3 seed. Like, I was like, yo, the Jazz are, like, signing Bogdanovich, like, I'm like, the Jazz are a problem. You know what I'm saying? Especially now when they did the Jordan Clarkson move. I'm like, they're a problem. But then, remember, injuries. Conley was having a terrible year. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, okay, they underperformed. This year, I didn't expect them to have the year they had this year, but them being a top 3 seed was always what I thought they were going to be. But when Conley didn't reach to that potential, I didn't think he was going to bounce back. I just thought, okay, maybe this is the Conley. Obviously not to that form, but, like, I don't, like, it's just, that's maybe what it is moving forward. Guys get older or whatever the case is. But the fact that he resurged himself and did 16 points or whatever, that's obviously solid, but it's not all-star numbers. But it is crucial to them having number 1 seed, obviously. But it's not given who you have to take him over, it's not all-star numbers. Anyways, I'm beating a dead horse at this point. You already know it's True Talks, because True Talks, I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk more about, obviously. We'll talk more like during this break. I think I'll do the All-Star game. Especially if it's exciting, I'll talk about it. If it comes down, like that's what I did last year. It came down to like a clutch play or whatever. I'll obviously talk about it. But leading up to when the games resume, I think they resume Wednesday. I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday. But until when the games resume, I'll do a 1-2 video. Especially I'm gonna talk about like Kawhi and the Clippers. They're closing. The Raptors, I'll talk about a little bit. I didn't really talk about them too much. Like, all of this kind of like, what's the point of talking about them when they got hit with COVID? And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to dissect a team that's not healthy. Like, we already know that's not the team. So, me pointing that out, like, oh my God, they lost this game. They're not even fully healthy. Like, the fact that they're even in games and battling is a good sign. But they're not healthy at all. Like, they're missing so many of their crucial players, stuff like that. Coaches as well. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not even going to go into all of that. But they will be back soon. And this break is a perfect timing, especially for a team like the Raptors, who's been dealing with, COVID lately and stuff like that. So we'll see and we'll resume back to those. But I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the game tomorrow and stuff like that. Have a great weekend. We'll come back. We'll resume probably Monday, especially if the game is elite. If not, we'll still, stay tuned, and keep spreading the word. I already know, like, obviously, a lot of y'all probably with the videos are waiting probably till like the last stretch, because I already know the views, have been, inconsistent, especially, people disappearing, whatever. And COVID, it's a different season, so I already know. But we already know we'll be back, be fully here. I hope it's a great All-Star game. Well, I'll talk about it regardless, because if it's anus, I'll talk about the game regardless. Like, it's obviously, it's All-Star, so it's still something we need to address and talk about, if it's ass or if it's good or whatever. So I'll do a video on it most definitely. So I already know, or you already know. Appreciate y'all. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? You gotta love it, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. My fault, y'all. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You feel me? And I'm out, man.